Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a great day and above all else, try indeed looking after yourselves and one another. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to Rocket. And the next two episodes, I will be bringing you my list of my favorite rock tracks. Now, the reason for a two-part episode is because when I started to put this list together, I originally was going to come up with 10 songs and 10 songs only. Well, 10 songs became 15 songs, 15 songs became 20 songs. There was at one point an honorable mention list for these songs. Well, that list grew from 4 songs and it grew and grew. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next two episodes, I'm going to be bringing you 50 of my favorite rock songs or tracks. And some of these songs you're going to know, obviously. Others you may not know as well, and some of them you may not know at all. So some of these might even be a new music discovery for you. But the idea for me was to have fun with this list. And up until when I was just about to press record for this episode, I was thinking of more songs to put on. But I thought, no, 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 no. We're done. We're done. I can't keep going on. So grab some food, grab a drink, grab a joint if you are so inclined, and sit back and enjoy. Now, I have my list numbered from 1 to 25 for both parts. And just because a track is number 25 on the list doesn't mean that it's a bad track or a subpar song. I just numbered the tracks just to make it easier for me to bring to you and for you to take in. Um, Sonically, or if you want to check out these songs. And before I begin, all of these songs on both lists you can check out on YouTube for free. This is going to be a fuck of a list, I'm telling you right now. Uh, Starting at number one, I have a bit of a cheat. I have two songs from the same band that I think go wonderful back to back. They segue into each other wonderfully. The band is Journey, and the first track for part one of number one on the list is Majestic from the album Evolution, released in 1979, produced by Roy Thomas Baker, engineered by Jeff Workman. This is the second album that was produced by Roy Thomas Baker for Journey, the first one being 1978's Infinity. Majestic clocks in at just a minute and change, like a minute, 18, 20 seconds, something like that. It kicks off Evolution, starts off with wonderful, gentle acoustic guitar chords, and then Steve Smith comes in with wonderful cymbal crashes, and then the band kick in full throttle on rhythm guitar featuring Neil Sean, and heavy drums that come in. Wonderful lead harmony guitar from Neil Sean. And also, there's beautiful vocal phrasing over the top of all that from Steve Perry and Greg Raleigh at the time. Just a wonderful introduction to the album overall, but just a wonderful, uh, I don't want to call it incidental music, but it's a good uh, introduction to the album. The only critique I have of, I guess you'd say a negative critique, is that it's too short, which is why I picked another song from the band that Majestic could easily segue into, and that song is "Any Way You Want It" from the album Departure from 1980, album produced by Jeff Workman. Uh, when Majestic ends, I can just hear now how easily and very smoothly it could transition into Any Way You Want It from the album Departure. The first time I really heard this track was in the movie Caddyshack from 1980, and it just starts off wonderful. This is basically ear candy for me. Wonderful intro with the chorus, with the wonderful harmony vocals that come in, and as the track kicks in proper, great drumming from Steve Smith. Although the drumming to me does sound muddy. It could have been more cleaner. Great rhythm guitar from Neil Sean. Wonderful hook in the verses in terms of the overall melody line for the track. Heavy as all get out with the rhythm guitar. Wonderful, if but short, guitar solo from Neil Schon. And Steve Perry does a wonderful ad lib vocal phrase over the guitars into the in the chorus that leads into the guitar solo. Just soaring over the top, really strong, very powerful, very intense. And again, it is ear candy. And on the outro, as the band, as you hear uh, the chorus being repeated over and over, you do hear an ad lib overdub from Steve Perry, where he is just soaring over it. And just very passionate, very powerful, very intense. Melodic as all get out, heavy as all get out. And then the song just fades out. But again, this track is still played, and a lot of these tracks are still played on classic rock radio today. So, and it's a short song, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So, yeah, it's just beautifully done. One of my favorite tracks from Journey. In fact, it is my favorite track from Journey, of a hit single. This was a pretty sizable hit for the band until they would, explode with Escape in 1981. But those are the first two tracks, number 1A and number 1B on the list. Number two, I have Kiss with Unholy from Revenge from May of 1992. This album was produced by Bob Ezrin. The last studio album prior to this was Hot in the Shade from 1989. Uh, Revenge was seen as a bit of a return of Kiss, a return to form for the band. Unholy, which leads off Revenge. Unholy is one of the heaviest tracks I think Kiss has committed to tape. A co-write between Gene Simmons and Vinnie Vincent. We won't go into that association again. Vinnie Vincent's been mentioned too much in the news lately on the internet. Starts off with certain guitar, uh, a gathering of guitar chords that say on the intro that sort of build, 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 and then you hear wonderful uh, rhythm guitar chords from either Paul Stanley or Bruce Kulick. The track kicks in full bombast, featuring Eric Singer on drums. This is his first album with Kiss to feature him on drums. Heavy drumming is on Get Out. A guttural, menacing vocal from Gene Simmons, one of the heaviest vocals I have ever heard him deliver, and just goes for the jugular, just bloody hell. And when it gets to the bridge section, the first of all, the song talks about uh, certain uh, forces of evil that are basically man-made, right? And then when it goes into the bridge section, the lyrics come in. I lay you down to sleep, your soul to keep. Better cross your heart before you die. And now know that you are mine. That's why you're feeling so unholy. And then it goes back into uh, the chorus again, and again, it's just bloody heavy. It kicks you right in the ribs, with his vocal delivery and with the guitar work from Kulick and Stanley, and the drumming is over the top. And on the outro section, near up to the coda, Gene Simmons goes from the lower register up to a high register to the point where his vocals increase in intensity, and it goes right up to like the most highest shriek I've ever heard him do, just guttural. And you basically feel like you can almost feel his throat bleeding, you know, when he's doing this vocal delivery on the end, and it just ends with a like a bang, just boom, It is just so guttural and so in your face, but it is amazing. And to me, it is my favorite song from Kiss, bar none, bar none. again, start your hate mail now, and that's the way it is. That's my number two. Coming in at number three, we're going to go in another direction here. We're going back to 1969 with David Bowie and Space Oddity. Between 1969 and 1973, this song had been released three times, and it was a major hit in England when it first came out, but it really didn't hit big here in North America. And this uh, track was released, I believe, shortly after the Apollo 11 mission in 1969. And it tells the story of Major Tom. And it's the start of the story of Major Tom, and Ashes to Ashes from Scary Monsters and Super Creeps is the ending of the story of Major Tom. And what the rock stations used to do in Toronto, they used to play Space Oddity and Ashes to Ashes back to back. So when you had, sorry, the fade out of Space Oddity, you would hear the intro of Ashes to Ashes. Now, what I like about this track, it features Rick Wakeman on mellotron and keyboards. It comes in very slowly, gradual build, acoustic guitar, and wonderful electric guitar notes being played very gingerly, very carefully. The track was produced by Gus Dudgeon, who would go on to work extensively with Elton John in the 70s and beyond. But it just a gradual build and just a very calm vocal delivery from David Bowie. And there is a video out there that was released um, that in the 90s, that early 90s, which features David Bowie in his Ziggy Stardust guise, with the orange hair and done up really like Ziggy Stardust. And he's singing this track. And it's a wonderful emotional piece of music, wonderful use of mellotron and keyboards from Rick Wakeman, great acoustic guitar from David Bowie, and the use of hand claps on the midsection, after the choruses come in. Just wonderfully done. It keeps the track together. And what I like about this track too, it has a fake fade out. The track towards the outro fades out and you think it's over, but it's not. It comes back in briefly and then it fades out again. Well, on the fake fade out was where the disc jockeys used to have it segue into Ashes to Ashes, right? Wonderful track. Again, still played on classic rock radio today. Beautifully done. Uh, it's my favorite. It is my favorite Bowie track. Coming in at number four, I have Yes with Roundabout from the album Fragile from 1971. This track, the original full length, clocks in at 8 minutes and 48 seconds. And a little side note, do you remember back in the day when you used to tape off the radio on cassette tapes? Yeah, I said cassette tapes. This was the very first song that I taped off the radio as a 12-year-old kid in my room on a Sunday afternoon in September, just learning how to use my uh, my my version of a ghetto blaster, a one speaker radio with a tape deck on it. But this track starts with a buildup of keyboards and acoustic guitar from Rick Wakeman and Steve Howe. Wonderful, intricate acoustic guitar from Steve Howe. And then it just launches into the song. Wonderful, heavy bass from Chris Squire, his Rickenbacker bass. Beautiful, intricate drums from Bill Bruford. A beautiful vocal delivery from John Anderson, multi-section piece. I do believe it was released as a single, and I'm not sure if it was released as a two-part, part one, part two, side A, side B kind of deal. But they did release it as a single. So if they did cut it down, you can imagine what kind of an edit job they did to it. But the full track needs to be heard in full stereo. And again, another track that's still played on classic rock radio today. Coming in at number five, I have Boston with More Than a Feeling from their debut self-titled album from '76, produced by Tom Scholz, who pretty much is Boston. Wonderful acoustic guitar intro on the track. Just a really gradual build. Beautiful, soft vocal delivery from Brad Delp. Rest in peace, Brad Delp. And then when the track kicks in in earnest, it's just heavy, bombast guitar over the top, thick, rich harmony guitars that come in on the choruses. And Brad Delp's vocals are just soaring. They're just like they're multi-tracked to give it more of a lush, rich sound. But he would do his or was able to do his vocal takes in one take, two takes at the most. But he had such a good ear to pick up what needed to be done vocally that two takes was really all that was necessary. And when he on the out after in the midsection comes that wonderful guitar solo from Tom Scholz, and then on the outro, um, when Brad Delp hits that final note, just going back into the chorus, and he just goes way over the top with his vocal delivery, soaring, ear piercing almost, just wonderful. And the fact that you also have hand claps on the choruses to keep it together, keep it going, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's again ear candy galore. Uh, Track 6 on the list. We're going to break with a bit of with what came before it with the heavy rock. We're going to go in more of an acoustic vein with Kansas and Dust in the Wind from the album Point of No Return from 1977. Wonderful acoustic guitar led piece, intricate guitar passages on acoustic guitar, wonderful soaring delicate vocals, but interwoven on the choruses on the instrumental breaks, you have wonderful, um, violin pieces that come in that are interwoven with the guitar. And basically, the gist of the song, the message of the song is whatever you think is important in life and to you at that point in time is ultimately meaningless because we're all basically dust in the wind. And then it just sort of fades out, very gentle. Now, they had a major hit with Carry On Wayward Son, but um, Dust in the Wind for me has always been a favorite of mine. Now, coming in at number 7, I have Santana with Europa from the album Amigos from 1976. 1976 was a really good year for music, especially rock music. Uh, a wonderful instrumental piece, multi-section. This was released as a single, and I do believe it hit the top 20 in various territories. I told the story about when I first heard this track. I first heard it when we were at a friend's place for dinner, and the daughter of the couple was playing this on the stereo. And my sister Anna bought the album about 2 weeks later, and it just this song has always captured me. First of all, you have a double tracked lead guitar that comes in with the main phrase of the song, the main melody passage of the song. Wonderfully done, thick, rich guitar tone, and a wonderful breakdown section featuring organ on it. And it does have multi sections to it, but the fact that Santana is able to take a guitar note or a phrase, and just hold the note and bend the note to his will and make it do whatever the hell he wants it to do. And just, you could just see him doing this live in concert where he's like standing there with the guitar, playing this passage, and just sort of closing his eyes and looking up to heaven, like, almost like Jimi Hendrix doing a solo kind of thing. Um, and it's an emotional piece of music for me. It's wonderfully done. It's various solos that come in on this piece, but the one solo that I love is the main guitar phrase of the song, and on the fade out, he shreds on this piece. Uh, Never losing his finesse, but he shreds like no one's business. Coming in at number 8 is the longest track on this list. I have Pink Floyd with Echoes from the album Metal from 1971. Now, first of all, I first heard this track in what I thought was its entirety on the Echoes compilation in 2001. I didn't realize that there was another like 6 minutes to it. It clocks in at just under 24 minutes, at 23 minutes and change. All of side two of Metal starts off with piano notes that Richard Wright is playing, and the track just comes in slowly. Wonderful guitar work from David Gilmour, beautiful bass work from Roger Waters. Again, amazing drumming from Nick Mason, and beautiful twin vocals that come in from Richard Wright and uh, David Gilmour. It's rock, it's art rock, it's psychedelic rock, it's grand and epic, multi-sectioned, and it works. It really works. Coming in at number 9 is one of the most kick-ass tracks I've ever heard from this artist. I have Lenny Kravitz with Are You Gonna Go My Way from the album of the same name from 1993, the lead-off single from the album. Um, Lenny Kravitz has said that he wrote this song about Jesus Christ, who he considered to be the ultimate rock star. Starts off with the drums and the main guitar riff of the track, and it just kicks into gear. Heavy bass. All the instrumentation on the album is provided by Lenny Kravitz. In concert and for the videos, etc., for this album, he had a backup band featuring Cindy Blackman, now Cindy Blackman Santana on drums, kick-ass drummer along with Sheila E. She is, but just a wonderful heavy rock piece. Nice, what I almost would almost refer to, sorry, as fuzz guitar on the lead guitar. Um, Heavy, thick tone on the guitar, wonderful bass, beautiful drums that come in that kick ass. I mean, you can't sit still when you hear this piece. It is simply wonderful, and it gets your ass shaken. And I remember I have this on CD and reading that this album was recorded in analog because and using all analog equipment, analog console to record it and mix it. Uh, Lenny Kravitz had said that he preferred recording in analog because analog had a much richer and deeper sound for him, much more of a warm sound as opposed to digital. Where at that point, most people were recording straight to digital. He went the other way and was recording on analog tape. And I do believe Prince was doing a bit of that too at that point. Excellent track, kick-ass riff, kick-ass track all the way. If you haven't heard it, please check it out. Track 10 is one of the oddest tracks on this list for me. The band are The Flies, and the track is Got You Where I Want You. A one-off hit for this band, one-hit wonder, I should say. This track was featured on the Faculty soundtrack. Uh, Wonderful bass that comes in on with the main riff for the song, and it's very rare that you hear a bass guitar that plays the main riff on a song. Wonderful heavy drums that come in with the use of the floor toms and the snare drum as the main drum pattern. Beautiful, heavy, but very strong lead vocal that come in. And this is the one track that features a rap section. Minus the rap section, I can deal with the rap section. I'm not a fan of rap, but it does complement the track in this case. Really thick bass again, prominent bass, uh, almost overdriven fuzz guitar in certain sections. And he's basically saying in the song, give me some time, give me a chance to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. I want to get to know everything about you. Just, give us a chance. Give me a chance. And he goes from a very sort of mid-range vocal in the verses to a high-end pitch in the choruses. And he's just saying, I think you're smart. I think you're beautiful. I, you, please give me a sign that you want to talk to me. I'm dying here. And it's just, it builds and builds and builds, and then it just comes to a very quiet end. Great rock song, alternative rock, I guess you'd say, alt rock. Um, Again, a one-hit wonder, but you know what? Effective. And all of these songs, when I listen to them, it always brings me back to the time when I first heard these songs. Okay, seriously. Track 11, uh, Rush. You know Rush is going to make an appearance at some point on this list with Overture and Temple of Syrinx from 2112. From 1976, their fourth, and at one point was going to be the possible final studio album for Mercury Records in the States. Uh, Side one tells the story of a dystopian society that basically has banned music, and the citizens of this society basically start to discover instruments lying around in certain spots and caves, etc. And they learn to play these instruments. Guitar is the instrument that they find, and they bring it to the town council as to, what is this? We need to learn this about this more. And the overlords of the town council are trying to stop them. The overture starts with a very futuristic effect that they used tape loops to create with keyboards and sequencers. But it's very ethereal, very space-like. And then the acoustic guitars come in on the left and right channel, and then the drums come in and the band come in full throttle. Wonderful acoustic and electric guitar. Wonderful uh, drumming from Neil Peart. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. And the track sort of levels off at one point, and then it builds up in intensity again and keeps going. And it's the overture part was used on a music journalism show called The New Music, which aired in Toronto, Ontario, from 1979 to the early 2000s, I do believe. Yeah. Well, no, sorry, 2009. My apologies. And if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. And then after Overture, it segues into Temple of Syrinx with Geddy Lee's over the top, piercing vocals, just guttural, but wonderfully done. Wonderfully done. Heavy track. Um, they do side one of 2112 on All the World's a Stage in 1976, performing live at the Massey Hall venue in Toronto. But Overture and Temple of Syrinx for me is my favorite part of the 2112 suite. Coming up next, at number 12, I have Guess Who with No Time from the album American Woman from 1970. Just a really good, steady uh, drum pattern that comes in. Wonderful, thick rhythm guitar, almost fuzz guitar from uh, Randy Bachman. Just beautifully done. And the verses go into a breakdown section when the vocals come in. But then it kicks into the main, the intro part of the track, the drums that come in again on the going into the choruses. And there's a lot of dynamics going on here with the guitars and the vocals that come in on the choruses. A lot of harmony overdub vocals that come in with the band. Wonderfully done. And Burton Cummings is able to deliver just a real heavy, not heavy, but a good solid, heavy is not the right word, a solid vocal on the verses. And he's able to, I believe, double track himself. But on the outro, when you hear the repeat of the main guitar riff on rhythm guitar, um, or and lead guitar, sorry. Uh, on the outro, you hear him going for his identifiable or trademarked guttural, raspy vocal delivery on the outro, that he has no time for games from his girlfriend at the time, or probably soon to be his ex-girlfriend at the time. I mean, people remember the Guess Who for, These Eyes and American Woman, wonderful tracks. But I also think that No Time needs to be talked about as well. And that's a great track. Track 13 on my list, ladies and gentlemen, is uh, I would call it an underdog on this list. It's from INXS and it's called The Gift from 1993 from the album Full Moon Dirty Hearts. Uh, yeah, this is one of the more heavier rock-oriented tracks from INXS. Really heavy bass, treated drums. There's no way around that. But there's a lot of heavy rhythm guitar that comes in on repetition, like a repeat of the main guitar riff that comes in, and overdriven bass from Gary Beers. But wonderfully done. Again, I keep using wonderfully, the word wonderfully, but it's an exceptional track. It was the first single that was released, I believe, in North America from the album Full Moon Dirty Hearts. And um, it was very unique, very unique. The actual album was released as a video album, so every song on the album had a video for it. And this was the lead off single in North America. And I do remember seeing this on Much Music, and it was just so heavy and just so far removed from what INXS were doing prior to that point. After this album, they would take a bit of a break, and they would come back in 1997 with Elegantly Wasted, and unfortunately would lose Michael Hutchence shortly after that. But The Gift is an underdog on the list in that it's not really talked about that much. Um, but it's heavy, it's rhythmic, and for me, to me, it's almost like someone lyrically is like taking stock of their life. And on the breakdown sections, you hear the lyric that says, "All these scars are mine," meaning that, you know, I'm taking that to mean that whatever this person has done in their life, whatever bad things have happened, that they're of their own making and they need to atone for that. But it's a heavy track. It's, again, one of the more guttural, heavier rock oriented tracks that NXS has ever done. But it's great. It's a great track and you should listen to it. You should check it out. Coming up next at number 14, I have XTC with Senses Working Overtime from 1982 from the album English Settlement. Um, in excess, listen to me, XTC, pardon me, featuring lead vocalist Andy Partridge. They're very unique. They started out as post-punk into new wave. Um, they weren't part of the new romantic scene, like, Spandau Ballet or Duran Duran or Culture Club, but that they had their own style. And since it's working overtime in terms of sonic, the use of sonics, wonderful use of light percussion or intricate percussion on the intro, delicate acoustic guitar from Andrew Partridge, use of tambourine from Terry Chambers on the track, and just like belting out the drums the the when the track kicks in full in earnest, and using a trying to taste the difference between lemon and lime, uh, the pain and pressure, and the church bell softly chime, and that goes into the end of the choruses. It's just a very unique song, and wonderfully done. Again, wonderfully, beautifully done, intricate in nature and arrangement, and Colin Moulding on bass guitar doing the background vocals on this. It's a unique piece of work. I believe it was a minor hit in North America, more of a major hit in Europe and in UK. And yeah, it's a shame that Andy Partridge developed a fear of flying, which prevented the band from touring. They basically became a studio band after this, a studio outfit. But since it's working overtime, I had to be on the list. And this is one of those songs that, ooh, what about this one? What about this one? So yeah, it had to be on the list. Had to be on the list. Coming up next at number 15, I have Billy Idol with Rebel Yell. His sophomore release, the title track, brutal, brutal. Program drums or not, this song kicks fucking ass. Featuring Steve Stevens on the guitar and co-writing credits. Wonderful intro on the between the guitar and the keyboards, and then the drums kick in full. Heavy bass presence provided by Steve Webster, a local Toronto musician that was recruited to be Billy Idol's backing band and for the recording session, and a blistering guitar solo from Steve Stevens. Uh, I recently saw him talk about this album in an interview, and album was produced by Keith Forsey, and they had all this computer and at the time up to date computer technology and keyboard technology at their fingertips, but Steve Stevens wanted to, according to him, create as much of the effects on guitar as he possibly could. And if you listen to that blistering guitar solo, just amazing, just amazing. And a little footnote: they do an unplugged version, acoustic version of Rebel Yell that's available to watch online. And if you if you think, sorry, that Steve Stevens can shred on electric guitar, he can shred on acoustic guitar. Watch the solo for Rebel Yell. Kicks ass. I mean it. Coming up next, I have Blondie with Dreaming from their album Eat to the Beat from '79. Dreaming is the lead off track on the album. There have been other singles released from the album. Atomic, sorry, Atomic was one. But Dreaming for me, heavy drums that come in, bass drum that comes in from Clem Burke, just boom, boom, just really ass kicking drums, and wonderful guitar riffs that come in from Chris Stein. And the main riff of the song, the main melody part line of the song, I think it's a combination of keyboards and guitar that are meshed together. I can't get over this track. I just think it's a really good, fun, upbeat song. Wonderful vocal delivery from Debbie Harry. Just it's basically saying that whatever out there that is available that you have to pay for, whatever you think you have to give yourself of in order to get in life, dreaming is free. It's for everyone. You can dream, you can do whatever, you can be whoever and whatever you want to be. Dreaming is free. It's a wonderful track. It's a wonderful track. Really, again, upbeat, great tempo, just really feel good pop music, new wave pop music. Yeah, I think it's my favorite track from Blondie, period. Coming up next, and I'm going to get shit for this one, Aerosmith with Jaded from the album Just Push Play from 2001. Rock Confection. The band have come out and said in recent years that Just Push Play is the least Aerosmith album that they've ever released because they never played any of the songs together in the studio at the same time. But heavy drums from Joey Kramer, wonderful melodic guitar from Joe Perry, beautiful melodic vocal delivery from Steven Tyler. Uh, just beautiful. And the message of the song is basically the guy saying, I know I hurt you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. I'm the one that jaded you. Um, but I still love you. Right. And it's a beautiful song, beautiful sentiment. Again, people don't like the people don't like the latter Aerosmith, I should say, the most recent version of Aerosmith in terms of albums like Just Push Play. But you know what? A good song is a good fucking song. And for me, this is a really good song. Up next, number 18 on the list, I have The Tubes with She's a Beauty. Fee Waybill on lead vocals. Heavy, you know, guitar presence from Steve Lukather, who helped Steve Lukather of Toto, and session guitarist extraordinaire who co-wrote the song with Fee Waybill and I do believe David Foster. Yes, David Foster. Heavy drums, heavy guitar presence from Steve Lukather. Wonderful melody on this piece. And the track is about this guy, this young kid, teenager or a young guy in his 20s going to a peep show and falling in love with the performer at the peep show. But, the song states, but don't fall in love. She's a beauty. She's one in a million girls. You know, you can look all you want, but you can't touch. Is basically what the message of the song is, and it's rock confection. I've used the term pop confection. This is rock confection to me. I've always loved this song, and it has a great breakdown section. And Fee Waybill's vocals are just soaring on this. You may like more of their art rock, earlier leanings with White Punks on Dope, but She's a Beauty to me is just a beautiful piece of music. It's again rock confection. It's catchy. It's an earworm and it works on all levels. Coming up next at number 19, I have Meatloaf with Paradise by the Dashboard Light from Bad Out of Hell from 1977 for Epic Records. The original length of this song was 27 minutes. And this song has been described by Gene Steinman as the ultimate car park song. And it is. It's about a couple that go parking one night somewhere secluded, and the guy thinks he's going to get some, at least get to third base, if not, hit a home run. And, there's all the trademarks of teenage angst in this track, featuring a play-by-play on the radio, baseball play-by-play on the radio by Phil Rizzuto. As I said, the original song is 27 minutes. It's split up into three sections: Paradise, Let Me Sleep on It, and Waiting for the End of Time. Praying for the End of Time, sorry. And in the beginning, the song, he's like, oh, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Parking by the lake and there was not another car in sight. And I never had a girl looking any better than you did. And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. So it's like, oh, he's got it made, right? So he gets her in the car, they go off. He thinks he's going to score. And she puts on the brakes and says, will you love me forever? Like, you ain't going to get any of this unless you put a ring on it. And he's like, well, let me think about it. So she's pushing him, pushing him. Finally, he says, I couldn't take any longer. Lord, it was crazy when the feeling came upon me like a tidal wave, starting swearing to my God and in my mother's grave, etc. That he would love her to the end of time. But then he was praying for the end of time because he felt like a bear caught in a trap and he couldn't get out of it. As I said, the original version of this track was not demoed. It was 27 minutes long. And when Todd Rundgren, the producer, cut this down to 8 minutes and 45 seconds or something like that, Meatloaf said to him, you butchered the song. You've ruined it. And Todd Rundgren says, 8 minutes and 45 seconds and I ruined it? Just fucking listen to the track. Listen to what I did to it. And when Meatloaf heard this song, he said, yeah, this is the way it should be. And it was played on rock radio in its entirety. And It's a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. Other people don't like the term Wagner rock, which is what this album is labeled as, because Jim Steinman did come from the theater background, but it kicked ass, and it kicks ass for a reason because it's a good song, and a good song is a good song. Coming up at number 20, I have Steely Dan with "Reeling in the Years" with "Can't Buy a Thrill" from '72, their debut album. I've always loved this song. I always loved the guitar intro. I loved the arrangement of the track, the use of piano, the guitar solo provided by Elliot Randall on this. Just wonderfully done. The guitar solo is mixed in with piano stabs that come in. This was when Steely Dan were actually a band featuring David Palmer, Jeff Skunk Baxter on guitar, just a full band. And eventually the band would dwindle due to Walter Becker's and Donald Fagen's dislike for touring. They basically became a duo in a studio unit. But Reeling in the Years, for me, is a classic rock track. And it is a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. Killer guitar solo. Coming in at number 21, we'll go back to the Canadian contingent with the band Max Webster and the track Let Go of the Line. Correction, I don't think there was a Canadian band prior to this on the list. Let Go of the Line from A Million Vacations from 1979. A track penned by Terry Watkinson. We recently lost Terry Watkinson. Rest in peace. Just a wonderful ethereal piece, wonderful keyboard intro, heavy drums that come in from Jerry McCracken. When I say heavy, I just mean full, rich drum snare hits that come in, and then the track kicks in full. And a wonderful guitar phrase from Kim Mitchell, band leader and lead singer, that he said that when he did this guitar phrase in the studio, because he had to go up the fretboard, he found it very difficult to go back down the fretboard with his fingers. Killer guitar phrase that he does, but a real bitch to perform on in the studio and on stage. But just a wonderful ethereal effect on the keyboards, and a wonderful soft delivery from Terry Watkinson, and just wonderful. I would almost say, almost jazz-like piano passages that come in on the track in certain spots that go in that lead into the chorus and the guitar work from Kim Mitchell. And this is one of those songs where I've said before how, I can put on an album, sit back, close my eyes, and I'm off on a trip. I'm off on a journey somewhere. This is one of those songs that does it for me. Okay? It's a great track, and you really should check it out. Coming in at number 22, I have Nazareth with their cover of This Flight Tonight. A Joni Mitchell cover. What I like about Nazareth and what they do with their cover versions with, Love Hurts and This Flight Tonight, they basically rearrange the track and make it their own. I thought that this was theirs. This is a Joni Mitchell cover, and it's just guttural. I mean, Dan McCafferty's whiskey-drenched vocals on it. Wonderful rhythm guitar from Manny Charlton. A great use of hi-hat from Doug Sweet on the drums. And just, again, great chugging rhythm guitar from Manny Charlton. Beautiful, again, guttural whiskey-drenched vocals from Dan McCafferty. And it's a rocker, and it's a hit for a reason. And it never ends. It never lets up. Let's put it that way. And you almost got the feeling that even on the outro with the chugging rhythm guitar and the fade out, that the song really isn't over yet. The story isn't done. You know. Coming in at number 23, I have Supertramp with Crime of the Century. My favorite track from Supertramp, from the album of the same name. Uh, Wonderful sprawling piano from uh, Rick, Rick Davies. Rest in peace, Rick Davies. This to me is art rock at its best. Album produced by Ken Scott, recorded at Trident Studios. Trident Studios was guilty of having a very thin, tin-like snare drum sound, as Brian May had said in interviews for Queen. Artists like Carly Simon would record at Trident. Queen would record at Trident Studios. Elton John. But this album, sonically, Crime of the Century, is wonderful. A full, rich, dynamic sound. Again, sprawling piano from Rick Davies. Uh, and it's talking about people in positions of power and how they're not to be trusted. That's how I take this track. And then after the sprawling piano, the band comes in full with, low humming vocals that come in, and wonderful piano stabs that come in, and heavy drums on the track. Sorry, and it's just sorry. Bob C. Benberg is the drummer. My apologies. And beautiful guitar solo from Roger Hudson, but the guitar line and the clarinet line are twinned. So you have both the guitar and the clarinet during the solo. The clarinet being done by John Anthony Hellerman, Hellerman. Sorry, if I'm wrong, please forgive me. But then there's a breakdown section where the section comes to an end, and then the piano comes in. A piano passage comes in from Rick Davies, and it's repeated over and over again, and it builds and builds and builds, and then the band come in again and just sort of play out the rest of the song. And as the song comes to its end, to the fade out, to the final section, it builds in intensity and string arrangement and lushness and drama, and it is just dramatic, very epic, over the top. And it's sprawling, it's textured, it's beautiful. It is simply beautiful. And on the fade out, you hear a repeat of the harmonica section that comes in at the beginning of School, at the beginning of side one. So it all ties in together as one piece. Coming in at 24, I have very interesting Icicle Works with Birds Fly, Whisper to a Scream from 1983. Icicle Works really, they're a trio from England. They weren't a really big hit here in North America. They were signed to Arista Records in the US and in Canada. And Birds Fly, Whisper to a Scream is their one hit in North America. Just a wonderful track, very interesting in its arrangement, wonderful bass on the intro, and there's a woman doing a spoken overdub passage on the main bass riff that comes in, and then the band comes in full. Great fast-paced drum pattern that comes in, and wonderful percussion overdubs that come in with great guitar. And the lyrics are basically saying, "We're lost. We're lost. We don't know what we're doing. We're looking. We, the youth, are looking to you, our parents or people in positions of power." Looking for you to tell us what's going on and trying to give us the answers, or trying to find the answers and coming to you for the answers. And you're not telling us anything. And we're still lost. And we're basically floundering out here on our own. And we feel like you failed us. So it's a very poignant message. that's very relevant today in 2026. I won't go into that. Part one of Rocket, favorite rock songs, ends with number 25, Bruce Springsteen and E Street Band with Hungry Heart, from the album The River from 1980. This song has hit written all over it. It's basically a piano driven, organ driven track with I'd say baritone sax being played that underpins the track. And it talks about this guy who had a wife and kids in Baltimore, and he went out for a ride one night and he never went back. That he and his wife at the time met when they were kids, and they got married because it was expected of them to get married, and they realized that they made a mistake. And he just got in his car one night and he just kept driving, and he didn't know where he was going to go, but he just kept going. And as it said in the lyrics, I went out for a ride and I never came back. Like a river that don't know where it's flowing, I took the wrong turn and I just kept going. It's a very poignant track, very heartfelt. And basically, the sentiment of the song is everybody has a hungry heart. Everyone out there in the world has a yearning to find something that will make them happy or try something new, a new experience, a new journey in life, just to keep them going, keep them interested, keep them relevant in their life. Other people around them may not understand what they're doing, but that's neither here nor there. You're not there to judge what this person is doing is right or wrong, as long as they're not hurting anyone. Actually, in the song, he probably did hurt someone, his family, the character did. But what's life worth if you're not even worth or willing to try something new and try something different? And that's what the song is about. It was a sizable hit off of The River. The River is a double album, as you all know. But this is my favorite song from the album. And it has a wonderful organ solo from Danny Federici. Rest in peace, Danny Federici. And just a wonderful harmony of vocals from Steve Van Zandt, among others, on the track. And yeah, it's again, when I hear this song, I'm 10 years old again. I'm 10 years old. Again, certain songs on this list or every song I should say on this list brings me back to that time when the track came out. So that's it, guys. Part one of Rocket. Favorite rock tracks. The first 25 are pretty much in the can. Please put down in the comments below your favorite tracks on this list, or make up your own list. Let me know what your favorite tracks are. And it doesn't matter from what genre. I picked rock, but you tell me what your favorite tracks are. It doesn't matter what genre. And I will be back with part two of Rocket, favorite rock tracks, another 25. So you'll be getting the full 50 at the end of part two of this episode. All right. Please click like and subscribe, and do hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. I've got more shows coming up with Bill Schuster. We are eventually going to be doing Outlaws and Heroes. It's a matter of sending down a date with Bill, because he'll be hosting this episode or series of episodes. And I've got more shows coming up with Ken Cheshire and Sagosh, and more shows on my own, and we're going to get them to you as soon as we possibly can. So again, click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves in the loop, and follow us on X. We are now on X. And please look after yourselves and one another. Armando Venditti signing off. Can't talk today. Please look after yourselves and one another. Bye for now.